started because we only have 1 hour. So welcome everyone to this breakout session in English. My name is Delphine Larousse. I'm the regional director for World Vegetable Center here in Bangkok. And I will co-facilitate this session with my colleague Jody Harris, who also did the presentation earlier. So this is an opportunity for all of you to make a contribution to the important topic that we are addressing today, which seeks to basically respond to the overall question, should Thailand have a vegetable policy? So I guess we don't have the time to do a full round of introductions, but please give your name and briefly introduce yourself whenever you are making a contribution. I think that will probably be the easiest way to do it. We can use the raising hand tool if you agree. Every time someone wants to speak, and then you introduce yourself very briefly. We will try to give a chance for everyone to speak if you wish so. So please mute your microphone when you're not talking. And then we have 1 hour to discuss among ourselves. So I will facilitate this as much as I can and try to give the chance for everybody to speak. And then my colleague Jody Harris, she will try to synthesize everything that is being said in this group and then report back to the plenary. So I hope that works for everyone. Before we start, I'd like to set the frame of this session. So it may be important to clarify that we're not discussing the importance of making diet healthier, but we would like to focus the discussion on how to do that and how should Thailand policy address domestic diet, livelihood and environmental issue, of course, at the same time. And is a policy specifically for vegetables really needed? And if yes, how should this be done? And what should this policy contain, basically? So we have the opportunity, I think, in this group to have people from different countries. So maybe to start the discussion, we could ask around if anyone has experience of domestic vegetable policy elsewhere in another country. So that could be a way to launch the discussion. So would any of you would like to share your experience in your country? And if yes, I would like to try to keep the interventions relatively short so that we can have an interaction with giving a chance for many people to speak up. So please raise your hand if you'd like to make a contribution. Thank you very much. There are many people in this group, 48 people. Wow, okay. So I hope everybody had a chance to listen to the introduction. I see some people have joined in the very last minute, but basically, please raise your hand if you'd like to make a contribution. Oh, I see we have Karsten here. Please go ahead, Karsten, welcome.
Welcome, thank you.
Yeah, okay, please go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes, please.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. I thought that's maybe a good way just to make a contribution in the form that reporting on some experiences in Germany. So maybe I have to introduce, my name is Carsten Sibel. I'm working for a Thai-German project on supporting sustainable development of cluster farms. I'm working together with MOIC and DOAE. I'm here in Thailand since November last year. I have been back 10 years ago working in Germany for CMA, Central Marketing Organization, for German agricultural products. I was responsible for export business and also for organic marketing. Let's say food security and education was not my, let's say, responsibility, but I have been sitting in some, there's some boards supervising some studies and discussion with the German government and other organizations about food security and education. Because at some time it was a big topic. It's more like changing the diet the consumption in general in Germany. And so what often came up there is that there's often a bias in, let's say, in the nutrition habits of people, and that's there are people who are very well aware of the, let's say, health impact of their diets, and there are people who don't care, and often it's more the educational and also financial, let's say, disadvantaged people you have to look at. So who usually don't follow any advice, and they're very hard to reach because, I don't know, there's some kind of detachment from the mainstream communication on these topics. So there have been some, I mean, if you think you have to do something, you have to find out, let's say, who are the most vulnerable or let's say, most affected groups of that, and you might find ways to target, because it's much more easy to target other people who are anyway already very, let's say, conscious and very much in the discussion, but actually you have to target others, and that's quite difficult.
Great, but can I ask, does Germany have a specific policy for vegetables? Do you know about that?
No, not for vegetables. I mean, we have a special nutritional advice. It's like kind of this pyramid and things you have here, I think here, which are common here as well. And so I don't know if that's kind of policy, but it's there are many departments or institutions working on educational support of that. So if we look into the consumer consumer habits, what to buy and how to consume, so there's quite a variety of institutions involved in that. It's more, let's say, the educational part. There is no rules. It will not work.
Great. Thank you so much for your contribution, Karsten.
Thanks.
Thank you so much. So we heard from Germany. Is there anyone else who would like to make a contribution based on your experience in your own country? If you'd like to do so, please raise your hand with using the button in the bottom, and briefly introduce yourself. And we'd like to hear if you think, if you have any experience of a domestic vegetable policy in your country.
Delphine.
Yes, please, Bernd.
This is Bernd speaking. I'm the agricultural attaché at the German embassy.
Oh,
I would like to add and comment a little bit to what my colleague Karsten just said.
Fantastic.
We do not have a strict policy in Germany on vegetable or increasing vegetable consumption. There had been some approaches and some appeals from some parties or some even government organizations. But in Germany, the consumers are very sensitive about that. They do not like to be told what to eat and what not to eat. Mm-hmm. And so this message, political message, has to be prepared in a very well way, because people are just, at least in Germany, don't like to be told what to eat and what not to eat. This is in particular, we have made the experience in particular with the appeal to eat less meat. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, lots of people said, I like my steak and I don't want to eat vegetables or green food in order to substitute my meat. So whatever kind of recommendation is being given or wants to be given needs to be well prepared, and so the people don't feel pushed. This is just a comment from Germany.
Very much understood. Thank you so much for this contribution. I guess this is valid for the food dietary guidelines. is there, it would be nice to hear about a specific vegetable policy, also a bit broader in terms of agriculture, in terms of food safety, in terms of many different aspects. I will give a chance now to DOA to also, because they raised their hand. So thank you so much for my colleagues from Germany for your contributions. Thank you so much. Yes, please go ahead.
Thank you, Delphine, for giving me a chance to participate. Yes. You have heard on the opening remarks of the Deputy Permanent Secretary, Mr. Rapipat, regarding the Thailand going towards to be the plant-based food hub in ASEAN. So recognizing that World Vegetable Center is a partner of ASEAN through the ARNET collaboration. So I would like to seek collaboration with the World Vegetable Center on developing kind of a mechanism or a platform in order to promote this plant-based food hub in the ASEAN. So it would be, I was listening to all the presentations and trying to get good points that we could put up in developing this initiative of Thailand. So I hope that you have also an idea or some suggestion or advice how we could really promote this plant-based food hub in ASEAN. So it would be of benefit to the ASEAN member states if we could have some kind of processing of food from plant-based food, particularly the soya bean as a protein source in replacement of the meat, and promoting it to be one recovery scheme during times of pandemic. So I'm looking forward to this kind of an output for this seminar. Thank you, Delphine.
Absolutely. Wow. Thank you so much, Margaret, for this contribution, and really keen to discuss about this plant-based food hub. We have Mercy. Would you like to come in?
Yeah, thanks, Delphine. I would like to say, okay, I'm Mercy from Kenya, and currently I'm a postdoc with the World Vegetable Center here in Bangkok. Now, I was thinking about Kenya. We don't actually have a vegetable policy as such, but there are several discussions that have been going on and systems that are being put in place to ensure that we increase consumption of vegetables, especially in the urban areas. So one example I'd like to give is urban consumers are very, very busy people. And if you want them to consume, let's say, especially traditional vegetables, then they would most of them would prefer to buy vegetables that have already been prepared. They've been cut and they're just ready to cook. And that is what most sellers are doing in urban centers. Like in Nairobi, you would find all these in the open air market, you would find vegetables that are already prepared. They have been cut, packaged well. Yours is to buy and just go and cook or freeze them immediately. Mm-hmm. But then the issues of food safety, of course, come in. And what the government is doing is to ensure that these markets the infrastructure has improved. We have concrete floors in the markets. There's access to tapped water, and there are washrooms available, just to make sure that at least safety issues are addressed. So I thought that could probably shed some light or contribute to our discussion today. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much, Mercy, for your experience from Kenya. So we have experience from Germany, from Kenya. We have comments for the ASEAN. Do we have someone else? Yes, please, Smith from OAA. Yes.
Yes. Thank you very much. Actually, good afternoon from here and nearly good morning and noon in Bangkok. Actually, Smith Tamashua, Minister Councilors Agriculture's Office of Agricultural Affairs, Ministry of Agriculture and Cooperative. Actually, we had the office in Canberra. The role is to bridge the cooperation between the Thai government and the Australian government. Would like to share some view in here. Actually, we follow up what Australia is doing in terms of preparation for the Food System Summit. And for the question regarding the national specific national vegetable policy, I think Australia, like Thailand, that we don't really see specific national vegetable policy in Australia, but I think Thailand and Australia perhaps focus on the food as the whole or agriculture as the whole. So we have policy that involve with development of agriculture in Thailand, both as well as in Australia. But what Australia is doing right now is to prepare several webinars in order to facilitate, accumulate, or follow up the idea from all stakeholders in order to come up with the Australian position for the food summit. And actually today is the first webinar regarding to food system summit. But I decided to join with this event instead of joining this the one in Australia. But I would like to advertise in the next one, the webinar on the future foods, innovation challenge and opportunity, which is going to be held in June 1st of this year. And they're going to discuss between these three topics: drivers for change, disruptive technology, and food system preparedness. Yeah. Regarding the question whether Thailand should have a national vegetable policy, in my point of view, I believe that we actually necessary to have the policy, but should not focus only on the vegetable. We should have national policy focusing on the food as a whole. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for your contribution. Very, very interesting. Jody Harris, would you like to comment, please?
Thank you. Yeah, so I'm from the UK, so I'm going to wear my UK hat for a minute and tell you about what the UK is doing. So we have a 2-year process in place at the moment where we are creating a national food strategy. And so the 2-year process is debating and getting contributions from all of the sectors that have something to do with food. So of course there's agriculture and agricultural inputs, of course there's marketing and retail sector, and of course there's consumers and consumer associations, and anyone who feels that they have something to say about food and how food systems work in the UK. So what that's trying to do is bring together the different ministries or the different sectors or the different actors who have something to do with food, because if we've heard anything this morning, it's that the Ministry of Agriculture can't do everything, the Ministry of Health can't do everything, because food cuts across so many sectors. So we don't have this strategy yet, but it's in process. It's in process of being made. And I think that process of being made is as important as having the written document in the end, because who you speak to, who you bring into the process, you know, what we're doing today is perhaps a start of that process. And it's not the written document at the end that's so important, although that is important. It's also the conversations that you have along the way. So I just wanted to share that example from the UK. Thanks, Delphine.
Thank you so much, Jody. I see we have a lot more people who have joined, 71 people now. So we're just discussing here if people coming from other countries have some experience about the vegetable policy in their country. So please feel free to raise your hand if you'd like to make a contribution, and also maybe have an opinion about whether Thailand should have a policy that is specifically to address issues around vegetable. So I see Pejarada, you have your hand raised, so please go ahead.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Delphine. Last 4 or 5 months ago, I joined with the Netherlands or vegan workshop about the food loss and waste, and I agree with Kun Smith from Canberra about the policy in Thailand should be not only focused on vegetable, but should be focused on the food overall. If there some part of vegetable, if you want to push the vegetable policy, I think should be separate the target, the clear target, because in Thailand we have a smallholder farmers. If I observe the some data or some information that presents in this group, I saw that some data or information is survey only the group of people in the city, not in the urban or the smallholder. So I think we should, or we need, for me, we need the some research or some information about the how to make the policy separate by the target and the consumption in the household target or commercial or industrial, to make the policy that can be separate, the policy that's suitable for the level. Yes, in my opinion. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for your contribution. Very important point to be as inclusive as possible, for sure. Does anyone else would like to make a contribution? Please raise your hand. So yeah, we're discussing whether there is a need for a specific vegetable policy and what this policy should look like, whether the current policy should focus more on diets or more on the other issues, environmental, livelihood issues. And if you have any experience in your country, please. Okay, Pepin, would you like to come in?
Yeah, just to give my opinions. I'm Pepijn Schrijnemakkers from World Vegetable Center. I'm originally from the Netherlands, and I wish I could share Netherlands experience, but I should have prepared myself better, I realize, and dive into that. But when I think about it, we should maybe think about what's the objective of the policy, because if the objective is to improve diets and promote healthier diets, I don't think we can only focus on vegetables, because making the diets healthier is also reducing unhealthy foods is as important as increasing the share of healthier foods. We just saw like sugar, fats, and salts, right? Like need to be reduced in the diets. That's really key components. But of course, if you think about the efficiency of value chains in Thailand and linking smallholder producers, raising their income, giving the opportunity to sell the vegetables better, and increasing the safety of vegetables, I could imagine you have a vegetable-centered policy, because those things are all complex and need to be need specific attention. So it depends a bit what the objective of the policy is. Thanks.
Great, thank you so much, Pepin. Lorna, would you like to come in?
Yes, Sophie, I would just like to share the program that was implemented in the Philippines, especially during the start of the pandemic, which was the Plant program. Is focusing on urban agriculture, wherein we gave seeds, vegetable seeds, and ready-to-plant seedlings. This is actually for food sustainability. So, although we push for eating for food, for vegetable as food to increase nutrition, it is more that people can get their own food because of all the lockdowns and the difficulty in getting the food from the supplies, source of supply. They have to plant their own. So this has actually increased all over the country. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lorna, for sharing your experience from the Philippines and raising the importance of seeds, absolutely, especially now during this time. So thank you so much. Anyone else would like to come in? Maybe we could try to think of how could your organization, if you're working in an organization in Thailand or in another country, support the process of developing a vegetable policy, if you think, of course, it's a good idea. Or please continue to raise your opinion about the current topic, or if you have any experience of a vegetable policy in your country. But now we could also try to think if your organization would like to be involved, and what would be the role. That could also be interesting to hear. We have somebody from NESDC. Please come in.
Yes, my name is Tanyarot from NESDB. I'm interested in the paper that Dr. Sirinya from Mahidol mentioned about that in Thailand, the more people aware of sanitary food or vegetable fruits, the more people consume less vegetable and fruits. So how to solve this problem? Because it seems like vice versa, that we have to do produce the vegetable and fruit that is more free of pests or to be more sanitary food, something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yes, thank you so much. Very important point indeed. Yes. From APSA, May, would you like to come in?
Yes, thank you very much, Delphine. My name is May from Asian Pacific Seed Association. I think that this forum is very good, that we have so many people from different departments sharing how to shape Thailand policy, especially for vegetable. For my side, if talking about how can we help to deliver or achieve the policy, not only in Thailand, but overall in the region, I do believe that, say, for example, as the seed sector, I think that creating the awareness of how important of producing good quality seeds for the farmer as the starting point, it would be a crucial demand also for the seed sector. And besides that, there's so many things talking about this, right? The good agriculture practice. I think that seed sector that work with so many farmers or who produce seeds for the farmer who need to produce the fresh market vegetables. I think also this is very important topic that along the value chain should be aware of. Another point is we cannot neglect that the climate change is coming, and we're studying now already this year. So any innovations that they can help farmer produce better yield and having a better machine or the facilities that they can also reduce the use of the resources, like the new trend of like indoor farming or growing. So right now I see the trend already start in Thailand also, but wish that we have a better technology and also starting from the seed or the varieties that can survive good in the indoor farming. So talking about the seed association, I believe if we can add seed sector or mention about seed in this policy, I think it would be very helpful to also create the awareness for our group, not our group, but for the whole supply chain, that things need to start it also from the beginning of the starting point of the food supply chain. Thanks, Delphine.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, May. Yes, WorldVeg is also very much in agreement with you about the importance of seeds, but also the importance of innovations and technologies to cope with climate change for farmers. So thank you so much for your intervention. I see, Karsten, you'd like to come in again?
Yeah, sure. There's, let's say, two thoughts. I mean, from my understanding, before policy, there's maybe something like strategy, so that policy is trying to put the strategy into guidelines, because policy is maybe something which is that's issued from a governmental high level organization, institution for others to comply. So, I mean, the first question would then be, is there a strategy for, let's say, keep it with fruits and vegetable, or keep it with vegetable or fruits and vegetable? So maybe it's not, it's definitely not. So I know in Thailand there's a strategy for sugarcane, and that's formulated, and there's all the stakeholders had been sitting together, and there's a round table, and they had issued that kind of strategy. And maybe part of that then could be governmental policies to be issued. Maybe one thought. The other thing is, I think it's possible to have a separated vegetable strategy and policy, but usually you would ask in what kind of framework does that exist? So, because I think one of the speakers before, I think from Canberra, also said it should be maybe an overall policy, but very clear depends on, let's say, what is the strategy? So do you need a framework for that? Because you can make a policy just, let's say, on the environmental side or just on the nutritional side without considering all the other sectors or nutrition overall. But maybe it makes sense having to think about a kind of framework. So where maybe then certain sectors have to work in some strategies. And so let's say if you have a big thing, an overall framework where the strategy and policies for vegetable fit in somewhere and overall, let's say a common approach maybe for the society. Otherwise you have an outstanding pillar with maybe some good ideas, but it's not matched with the other sectors, with the overall communication, something like that.
Great. Thank you so much. This is a very valuable contribution as well. To think about a strategy before the policy, and then of course we need to seek some collaboration and interconnectedness among the different sectors. So that's very much noted. Thank you so much. Jody, do you want to come in again?
Yes, I want to add a point that was added actually by Professor Emon Udom Kesmale in the last session. She wrote it in the chat. And I think it's relevant here because also in the chat here, we have people asking things like what rate of vegetable self-sufficiency is in Thailand. People still want more data, more information in order to be able to make a policy like this. We received a lot of information in the slides and in the presentations just before, but there are still bits of information that we need in order to say what are the things we need to address in Thailand with this policy. And so Professor Emon's input was we need to consider an integrated data and information system for determining the policy and strategies to promote fruits and vegetables. And she suggests we link information on fruit and vegetable production chain from the Thai agriculture ministries with the health surveys of the Ministry of Public Health. And she suggests that bringing data together in some kind of information system will help to identify clearer goals for this policy. So I just wanted to bring that in here because I think it would help with our discussions. Thank you.
Very important. Thank you, Jody. Yes, this is very important to think about the how we're going to do this. If Thailand decides to go for a vegetable policy, this type of data and information is really an important first step. So thank you so much. From DOA, Margaret, would you like to? Yes,
thank
please.
you, Delphine. Once again, I just want to follow up. I just heard Dr. Karsten in his statement a while ago that the policy would be broader, as I understood from him, and also from Dr. Smith, from our agriculture counselor. So I would like to maybe propose to use the word food crops instead of vegetables, because fruits are also very important in the food security and nutrition, and also field crops such as other field crops, because they may not be considered as vegetables. So it would be better maybe if we could use the word food crops. Okay, so to of course to differentiate it from industrial non-food crops. Okay, so when we refer to agricultural policies, that may not be quite specific for food security intentions. So maybe it would be good to use the word food crops instead of vegetable policy. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much, Margaret, for this contribution as well. We have from the Nutrition Association of Thailand, Dr. Lada Moswan. Would you like to come in?
Yes, thank you. My background is pediatrician, so what I want to see is the healthy diet and increase the consumption of vegetable and fruit that also focus on safety. So to achieve that, as speakers have, I think all speakers have pointed out in the morning, that we have to work with the food system. So what I would like to see is the collaboration, integration of policy from the Ministry of Agriculture and Cooperation with Ministry of Public Health, Ministry of Education, and also I think Ministry of Interior as well. I'm not sure. I don't see people from this government sectors in this meeting. So I would like to see more of this collaboration so we can have what do you see? The consistency of the policy, food in our policy that work through the food system. And I would like, as a pediatrician and work from the medical background, I would like to see that there's more availability of safe fruit and vegetable in all the settings. I mean, in schools, in the daycare centers, in the workplace, as one of the presentation has pointed out, that the people who don't eat much vegetable are people in the work in the workplace, people who are not with their families, that's thing. So I would like to see more collaboration and also focus also not only on production or distribution, and also on the consumption and nutrition and health as well. Thank you.
Great, fantastic. Thank you so much. Yes, this is exactly what we're trying to do. stimulate discussion and collaboration across the different sectors. Thank you so much for this contribution. Anyone else? Piraya, I see you have your hand. I see Piraya. No, okay. Smith, yes, please.
Thank you very much to allow me to speak one more time. We also like to emphasize that the Thailand system, we not only formulate for Thai policy. When we formulate policy, we will come up with the strategies and also action plan with the whole plan. Coming back for the food system, actually Thailand used to have food safety policy for quite some time, I think for a couple of decades ago. And we're doing quite well for food safety for agricultural products. And this time perhaps is going to expand food system to cover food safety, to cover food system by incorporating the other aspects, but which Ministry of Agriculture and Cooperative didn't foresee that in the past when we laid out the food safety system. And I would like to suggest that the one missing part, which I haven't hear much about from the speaker in the morning, is that we normally speak about the whole food system, the whole food chains, but we often lack of the idea to incorporate the food waste and food waste management in terms of the post-harvest, maybe harvesting, post-harvesting, processing, and also after consumption. There are a lot of food waste in there. Some speakers touched on that point. So I think we should incorporate this food and food waste management in the whole food system that we're going to produce at the national policy. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much. Very important indeed. Food safety, food waste, food loss management to incorporate all this. So do we have anyone from the health sector who would like to come in to give maybe a different view as from your experience or how the health sector could contribute to designing such a policy? Or somebody working, yes, please, Piraya, come in.
Oh, hi, my name is Jazz, or Piraya Samaki. So I'm not from any government or anything, but I have a family business. So we're exporting Thai vegetable and fruits to most European countries. But I also just graduated from Mahidol University last year. But here it's just only my experience that I have been, like encountered with. So I'm based in Thailand as just a graduate student. So what I can see is that we are quite lack of knowledge on healthy diets. Like also like we try to communicate via poster or education, but I can see that it's still a lack in most of like consumer knowledge. Like we try to, like for example, in the canteen, we trying to like, okay, I also want to have like a healthy food for my lunchtime, but mostly I can see that it's really fewer restaurants that offer like a vegetable or like a healthy meals for students. But also like when we go outside, like in Bangkok, I can see that plant-based food for stuff like this, sometimes it's really expensive and not really affordable for some group of people. So I think if we try to make it more like cheaper and affordable to everyone, so I think it can increase consumption of vegetable or like healthy intakes. And also like when I was an exchange student in Germany, like in the supermarket, they have like a section full of plant-based products. But compared to Thailand, you rarely see this shelf full with plant-based or healthy stuff. So it's really, for me, it's really hard to find as well, but you can find it on internet and sometimes it's still expensive. So I think it's the best way to communicate to like teenagers or young adult, and also like people with different various group age. I think like promoting what I can say as strategies, like, or maybe educate people with social media. Like Facebook is a good thing, but for teenagers like us, like a young adult, sometimes we use like TikTok, like use different varieties of media to reach different group of people. That is how like you spread the knowledge. And also like if we can decrease the cost of vegetable and fruits, that would be great. And as we also doing like exporting stuff to many countries in the world, and I see that for farmer, mostly like every time you go to visit the farmer, like they also want to, you know, like have like higher income and everything, but all we can do is that just like pay the money and not really like keep track on them. So I think like try to educate the farmers in like have an organization like go down to the farmer and educate them, and so they understand how they can produce like food chains and other stuff. And because for Thai farmers, sometimes they use the chemical for vegetable and fruits, so it's really unhealthy. That's all we know. But like organic food in Thailand is also expensive. So I think I personally believe that strategies has to come before policy, because we can run the policy anytime, but if we don't have the know-how, the strategies, it's just a waste of time. So here it's just only my experience or my points of view that I want to share.
Great, thank you so much for your sharing your experience and your point of view. You brought a few very important topics in there about affordability, about the importance of education, knowledge, targeting the youth, social media, the role of the supermarkets, private sector, of course, the farmers, and the education around pesticide issues. So thank you so much. Very interesting. And so Jody is capturing most of what you are all saying, and she will be reporting to the plenary in about 10 minutes. So in 10 minutes, we will be brought back to the plenary in a very abrupt way. So if we don't have to say goodbye, please don't be annoyed. It's just the system who will bring automatically back to the plenary. So we have 10 more minutes. So if somebody would like to make another contribution to the topic, maybe somebody also from a different sector, if we have someone from the private sector here, or somebody who'd like to contribute more from the health side, or an experience from another country, you're all welcome to make a contribution. Just raise your hand and introduce yourself. Maybe what we could do, if there are no more contribution, another question could be to think about what the situation would look like in about 10 years, let's say 5 to 10 years, if we were to implement a policy like this, vegetable or food policy, something that would emphasize a lot more healthy diet. What would the situation look like in Thailand in 5 to 10 years? What would be the best scenario? This could also be an interesting question to reflect on together. That's okay. So maybe we could also have a different type of question about maybe what would be the challenges that we could face in drafting such a policy? Of course, we understand the difficulty to all work together, but if you have any specific challenges in mind that you'd like to share as well, or how your organization could help.
Hi. I wish to speak one thing that hopefully in the next 5 years, Thailand should be able to meet the average for all the consumption for food and vegetable. Thank you.
Great, thank you so much. Yes, indeed. Yes, please. I don't see the name anymore, but from the Nutrition Association of Thailand, please.
Yes, thank you.
Yes, please.
Yes. I just want to follow up the last speaker. I agree with his vision or his dream in the next 5 years. Also for myself, I am in the Bangkok city. Would like to have more accessibility to, local or what you call indigenous vegetables. What I see now is just very boring. Always those commercial vegetables. So I would like to see more and more of indigenous one. And yes, of course, I would like to see less NCDs and less obesity and people healthy and happy. Also, if we can have people have, grow their own vegetable at home. But I see from my friend that she's in the, she's abroad in the USA. They have their small plot. It's in the public, in the share area in the city, and they have their own small plot, and she can grow her vegetable and enjoy doing some gardening and also some physical activity. I would love to see that in the big city like Bangkok. It will increase the livelihood and also relationship among the people in the same area, because we now in the city and we don't talk to each other. So if there's some common area that we can share, and also we can have a safe vegetable and fruit. Yes.
Great, thank you so much. Yes, very important, all your points. Please, we have again, Margaret, is that you?
Yes, thank you, Delphine. Very briefly. In 5 years, we would like to expect that there would be more enhancing the capacity of smallholder farmers in producing food crops by giving them irrigation or water or irrigation facilities and some capital. And also this initiative on home gardening and the sufficiency economy philosophy of His Majesty should be continuously promoted. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Yes. Dr. Is that Tunya Rose? Would you like to come in?
Yes. I totally agree with the last speaker who just gave her opinion. And for my opinion for the next 5 years, I do not afraid for the young smart farmer, but I think the other small scale farmers who are aged people, they need to be promote the knowledge and the awareness that the food and fruits and vegetable need to be they need to produce the high quality and safe fruit and vegetable for the market, because they are the first place of the food supply chain. So if we cannot change their their habit or their traditional way of producing of vegetable and food for clean and safe, it will be a problem. And also, I think the next 5 years, Thai consumer, they need to aware of consume of product, high quality and safe fruit, vegetable and food, because it's really important for their health. And also how to promote the economics for the farmers who produce the safe and clean food, fruit and vegetable. This is important that we all have to help hand in hand and do the collaboration for all our partners to make sure that it can be the positive for both the producer and the consumer. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Well, with all your contribution, I think we really have a clear plan for the next 5 years, which is really fantastic. So yes, thank you so much, everyone, for your contributions. So I don't know if anyone has a final word, but otherwise, on behalf of the World Vegetable Center, we're really pleased to collaborate with you all on this. And so Jody will report back to the plenary with all your contribution, trying to synthesize this. Jody, before we leave back to plenary, do you have any final point? Or are you missing something?
No, this was amazing. So I'm going to talk about some of the country experiences we heard, then some of the overarching ideas that we heard, sufficiency economy, objectives of the policy, these big picture ideas.
Mm-hmm.
Then I'm going to talk about some of the policy ideas, so everything from data to whether it's a vegetable or a food policy. I'm going to talk about some of the policy elements that people said, everything from seed to food literacy. People made lots of comments. And then finally, I'm going to talk a little bit about the few ideas that we had on how to make policy happen, things like collaboration across sectors. So those are the things I'm going to talk about. I apologize in advance for anything that I miss. But as I say, I think this this meeting today is the beginning of a much longer process for Thailand that everyone here, I'm sure, will continue to be involved in. So yeah, I'll feed back as well as I can what everybody has said, but thank you so much for making it so easy for me to make this this presentation in a minute, because there are some great ideas. Thanks, Delphine.
Great. So thank you, everyone, and you're going to bring brought back to the plenary in 15 seconds. So thank you so much. ขอบคุณค่ะ
Thank you, Delphine, for facilitating.
Thank you.
สวัสดีค่ะ
Thank you, Dolphy.
Thank you.